Welcome back to Discipleship. Today, I'm doing another interview with Dr. Kent Hovind, and today we're going to be discussing a little bit about the homologous structures and features and supposed proof and direct observation of microevolution. So, Dr. Kent, how are you?
Hey, doing great. Been a busy day here. Sorry, I was almost late, but go ahead.
All right, it's fine. I was a little late too. I was trying to figure out how to get my Zoom working. So, Dr.
Uh,
Kent, for people who don't know, would you like to tell them who you are? And
well, let's see. My name's Kent Hovind. I've been a Baptist preacher 49 years. I taught high school science and math for 15 years. I believe the Bible is absolutely true, scientifically accurate, and evolution is the dumbest and most dangerous religion, and it's nothing but a religion in the history of the world. I do debates against atheists who believe they came from a rock, which all atheists do. They don't say that. No, they don't like to make it that simple, but it is true. They do believe they came from a rock. So our website is drdino.com. We have an Adventureland in Lenox, Alabama, southern Alabama, called Dinosaur Adventureland. It's free. Come on down. Science Center, museum, theme park, all based on science and the Bible. We want to strengthen everybody's faith in the Word of God. If you watch my video series, it's 18 hours long. When you get done, you're going to say, wow, the Bible's true. Then about a week later, in the middle of the night, you're going to sit up in bed and say, oh, no, the Bible's true. I better change my life. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, is get people saved, get them going to heaven, and get them to get busy winning souls. So I'm an old-fashioned Bible-believing preacher, Baptist church, and you can come visit us. It's all free, Dinosaur Adventureland. And I do 339 debates now with atheists. I can't wait for my next one. Tell them, bring it on. Go ahead.
all right. Yeah, that's 340. Man, I remember a little while ago when you hit your 300th debate. You're going fast. You're getting a lot. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start. So, Dr. Kent, the first question here was about uh, homologous features, as they say it. And this is a question that I think was from a university, and it said, uh, if two or more species share a unique physical feature, such as a complex bone structure or a body plan, they may all have inherited this feature from a common ancestor. Physical features shared due to evolutionary history, a common ancestor, are said to be homologous. To give one classic example, the forelimbs of whales, humans, birds, and dogs look pretty different on the outside, but that's because they've adapted to function in different environments. However, if you look at the bone structure of the forelimbs, you will find that the pattern of bones is very similar across species. It's unlikely that such similar structures would have evolved independently in each species, and more likely that the basic layout of bones was already present in the common ancestor of whales, humans, dogs, and birds. So, Dr. Kent, what do you have to say about that?
Well, there's quite a few assumptions built into that statement. It is true. There seem to be some similar bone structures in the forelimb of quite a few different animals. Here we have the bird, the dolphin, and the dog. Here we have the horse, the human, the cat, the whale. You are correct. You have a humerus bone, and then the radius and the ulna, the carpals and the metacarpals, and the phalanges. Okay, I agree. There are similarities. What does that prove? See, in their mind, that questionnaire, a person submitting that said, this proves a common ancestor. Oh, it does no such thing. It could just as well prove a common designer. Have you ever seen a Chevy truck?
Yes, sir.
Do they have round tires?
Yes.
Not square tires.
No, not square tires.
Have you ever seen a Ford truck?
Yes, sir. They have round tires too.
They have round. How about a Honda Civic? Do they have round tires?
They all have round tires.
How about a Lincoln Continental? Does that prove a common ancestry, or does that prove that's a good design that works? All these animals need to use their forearm, their forelimb, for be able to be flexible, move it around, either to swim through the water and twist it and contort it, or to pick up things. Like, it's a good design. It's not proof of common ancestry. This is insane to say this proves common ancestry. But the textbooks will tell the kids comparative anatomy provides further evidence of evolution. The commonality suggests these and other vertebrate animals are all related. No, it does not. This is a lie. This proves they have a common designer. Nothing. All the tires are round on all the vehicles I saw today going down the highway. That proves they all came from an amoeba. No, it's a good design that works. And the way the forelimb is designed, it really works good. I've broken mine a couple of times, and boy, do you miss it when it's in a cast. Okay. So I'm sorry, they're mistaken. They give you one option. Does this prove it evolved? And the answer is no. It wouldn't prove any such thing. In an honest court of law, that'd be thrown out in a few seconds. It could just as easily prove a common designer. And I think there was one designer made all the creatures. His name is God. And he wrote a book, told us about it right here. I believe that book's true from cover to cover. Okay, next question.
All right. So the next question is also about homologous structures, but this is about when humans are developing, and it says right here, homologous structures can only be seen in embryos. For instance, all vertebrate embryos, including humans, have gill slits and a tail during early development. The developmental patterns of these species become much different later. But on which is now your embryonic, which is your tailbone, and your gill slits have turned into your jaw and inner ear.
Okay.
So
whoever wrote that is 150 years behind on their research. Okay. This embryo is the baby growing inside the mother of any species, human or dog or bird. They're called an embryo. Ology means the study of. So let's study the embryos of different creatures. Does that prove evolution? Textbook says human and fish embryos resemble each other because humans and fish share a common ancestor. That's what they tell the kids in school. And apparently, whoever wrote that question, they took the bait. They believed it. They drank the Kool-Aid. I'm sorry, it does not prove a common ancestor. Darwin considered this idea of embryology the strongest single class of facts in favor of his theory. A guy named Ernst Haeckel, who made it up, called it the biogenetic law. Bio meaning life, genetic means the genetic code. He said it's a law. All the animals have gill slits. Wow. This textbook says, look at that. The embryo has gill slits. That's a lie. The gills like a fish? I'm sorry. Those are not gills. Those little folds of skin under the chin develop into bones in the ear and glands in the throat. They never have anything to do with breathing. I've seen fat people that got 5 or 6 chins. They can't breathe through any of them but the top one. Okay. No, it's not evidence for evolution. Haeckel said the turning point in his thinking was when he read Darwin's book. So then Haeckel, who studied embryos for a living, he was a scientist that studied these embryos, unborn creatures. He made up these charts. He took a dog embryo at 4 weeks development and a human embryo at 4 weeks development, 1 month along. And he changed them and made them look exactly alike. These are Haeckel's drawings. He lied. It's a forgery. Underneath are Haeckel's drawings. On top are the actual photographs of what they look like. They are not identical like he did. He made charts. Haeckel's famous set of 24 drawings showing 8 different embryos in different stages. Wow, we got the human and the fish and the turtle and the pig and and a cow, all look just alike because he lied, he faked the drawings. This is baloney. On top are his drawings. Underneath are actual photographs done in 1997, I think. So either he's a lousy artist or he's a liar. Now we know he was a good artist and he's a liar. Embryology is not evidence. His own university where he taught took him to a trial in his own university. Other professors said, Mr. Haeckel, you have forged these drawings. This is a lie. He tried at the Jena University court. He confessed and said, a small percentage of my embryonic drawings are forgeries. Those, namely, for which the observed material is so incomplete or insufficient as to fill in and reconstruct the missing links by hypothesis and comparative synthesis. Let me translate that for you. I have a wild imagination, and I think they match. He's lying. He said, I should feel utterly condemned, except that hundreds of other observers lie under the same charge. His excuse was, everybody lies, so therefore I can lie. That's what he said in court, Jena University, okay? The biogenetic law, as he called it, has become so deeply rooted in biological thought, it cannot be weeded out, in spite of having demonstrated to be wrong by numerous subsequent scholars. The biogenetic law is as dead as a doornail. American scientists published that. Let's see. St. George Hospital Medical School in London. Haeckel confessed to drawing them from memory and was convicted of fraud. But the drawings persist. It's still in biology textbooks. I've got dozens of them here. They're still teaching this embryology as evidence for evolution. And somebody wrote in a question to you using this same thing. This was proven wrong in 1874. I think that's long enough to get up to date. Now, if you don't have any evidence for your theory, I'm sorry, get a new theory. But don't use that as evidence for evolution. This book, Icons of Evolution, has a great whole chapter on this, how it was proven wrong, but they're still teaching it. They're still using Haeckel's fake drawings because they don't have anything else. This is a book from Ireland. When I was preaching over there in Ireland, I got their textbook. It says the presence of fish-like structures in embryos of different species show these animals have evolved from fish and share the basic pattern of fish development. This is just plain lie. Here's what happened. Darwin's book came out 1859. Haeckel loved it. But Darwin said, we don't have any evidence for my theory. So Haeckel said, I'll find some. He faked the drawings in 1869, 10 years later, to try to provide evidence for Charlie's theory. His own court, 5 years later, proved him as a fraud in 1874. So from 1869 to 1874, for 5 years, everybody thought, wow, these drawings are good. Then it was proven to be fake. But they're still using it. Still using these drawings nearly 150 years later. Look at that. University of Oklahoma, I think. Here's a Hope biology textbook. Still teaching it. There's Hope biology. Saying the embryo's got gill slits. Glencoe biology. I've got them right here on the shelf. Still saying it has gill slits. Evolution and the Myth of Creationism. Tim Bear wrote a book and said, look at that. We've got evidence for evolution. He used Haeckel's fake drawings. Tim, you're a liar. I'll debate you anytime. 855 Big Dino, extension 4, to get Joseph to schedule a time for a debate. Okay. Ken Miller, Catholic teacher up in Rhode Island, wrote a textbook about biology. He's still teaching it using Haeckel's same fake drawings. Ken, that's a mortal sin. You're going to go to hell. Okay. Repent. Call your priest and do 10 billion Hail Mary full of grapes. Okay. All right. Let's see. Darwin's God. Ken Miller wrote that book. Here they are. Haeckel drawings in Holt biology, still using the fake drawings. Still claiming it has gill slits. This ought to be criminal for a teacher, for a textbook to use this. It's evil. They use Haeckel's fake drawings as evidence for evolution. Where's this one from? 2014 textbook. It's right here behind me on the shelf. But I love science. I'm not against science. I love science. And science does not support evolution. Here's a 2020 textbook. Embryonic development shows similarities. Similarities provide evidence these three animals evolved from a common ancestor. What do they have? A turtle, a chicken, and a rat. I'm sorry, they are lying. Those are not gill slits. But they still teach this in textbooks all over the world. They say, because this is the only way to justify abortion. They're going to say it's okay to kill it. It's not a human yet. 34% of the babies born at 5.5 months will survive. Here's a 21-week, less than 5-month-old baby holding the doctor's finger. The doctor had to do surgery on the baby before it's born. Good article on increation.com about this. Homology does not prove evolution. And the tail, as far as the tailbone, humans having a tailbone, where is that? Right here, tailbone. Okay. Humans have a tailbone that is of no apparent use, this book says. The vestigial tailbone in humans is homologous to the functional tail of other primates. Thus, vestigial structures can be viewed as evidence for evolution. This is absolute lie. Tell them I said so. Here we go. Heath biology. The coccyx, tailbone, small bone at the end of the human vertebral column. It has no present function. Really. Thought to be the remainder of bones that once occupied the long tail of a tree-living ancestor. Let's see. I want to see crybaby's tailbone removed. We got an atheist that writes into my channel all the time, Genesis Baptist Church channel on YouTube. And he's always commenting on the back. And I said, crybaby, if you think the tailbone is unnecessary, vestigial, I will pay to have yours removed. The tailbone holds 9 little muscles that are essential for a lot of variety of things, making babies, going to potty, having good posture. It's essential. Don't take your tailbone out. There are 9 muscles that attach to the tailbone, the coccyx, okay? We can study that for the next hour if you'd like. I taught anatomy for 1 year. 3 to 5 bones and 9 muscles attached are used to support the complex system of the pelvic floor, support the colon, aid in defecation, anchor muscles that allow pelvic thrust to make babies, support for proper sitting aid. They're not vestigial. And it doesn't prove it used to have a tail. It's perfect just the way it is. But you tell your listener, whoever wrote that in, excuse me, if he thinks or she thinks the tailbone is unnecessary, I will pay to have theirs removed. Fair enough?
All
Right,
right,
go ahead.
I don't think they'll want that though.
Okay.
All right, Dr. Hovind, this next question is, I think, also about homologous structures. Let me just double check. Oh, yes, this one is about the walking whale. So this is from the University of, I cannot pronounce their name. This was on their website, and I wanted to know what you thought about this. It says homologous structures reflect developmental programs of the vertebrates are variations on a similar plan that existed in their last common ancestor. The small leg-like structures of some snake species, like the boa constrictor, are vestigial structures. These remnant features serve no present purpose in snakes, but did serve purpose in snakes' tetrapod ancestor, which walked on four limbs. Same with the whale, where it also has two vestigial structures, which used to be legs. So what do you have to say
Well,
to?
first of all, I would point out, even if this were true, it's not, I'll show you. But if it were true, that would be an example of losing something, not gaining something. I thought with evolution, we had to go from an amoeba to gaining legs and arms and head and brains and eyeballs. And where's the example of gain? This, if it were true, it would be losing legs, not gaining. So take the whale first. The snake is the same idea though. This textbook says many organisms retain traces of their evolutionary history. For example, the whale retains pelvic and leg bones as useless vestiges. Vestigial means you don't need it anymore, but you used to in your past. Let's see. National Center for Science Education at Berkeley, California. They said the whale is evidence for evolution. Whales have a vestigial pelvis and leg bone that serve no purpose. Really? Well, this person is stupid about their whale anatomy and should not be writing a book about it, okay? Modern whales have hind limbs which have been reduced to a few tiny internal hind limb bones that have no function. Just imagine whales walking around. It's true. This is the propaganda kids have to face all the time. Here is a whale skeleton at the Los Angeles Museum of Natural History hanging from the ceiling. There, you will see the bones they're talking about right there. Okay? That is not a vestigial pelvis. Those bones are essential to help the whales be able to make babies. They have to mate in the dark underwater with no, and they can't talk and say, scoot over, honey, okay? Useless? No, whale hips play a sexy role. Live science is finally admitting it, okay? Hip bones left over long days when the crustaceans walked on land. No, they're for making babies. You can read all about it yourself. If whoever's asking you that question is way behind on their science. This textbook says the whale's pelvis is located far from the vertebrate, has no apparent function. The whale's pelvis is evidence of its evolution from four-legged land-dwelling animals. No, I'm sorry. Those whales are used for the baby, for the whale to make babies. These bones are resemble those of mammals, but they weakly developed in the whale and have no apparent function. Anybody says that should not be writing a biology book, okay? And same thing with dolphins and other creatures like this, okay? They're still teaching it at the university. It's baloney. I'll show you the problem here. They say Basilosaurus is an intermediate. No, it's not either. I'll get into that in a minute. See, the whale. They show the whale evolving, and this is an example of it losing its legs. You can hit pause and read all these for yourself. Same thing with the snake. I had a snake skin in Pensacola, hope to get it back, showing the little claws at the end of the snake right there. There's a little claw attached to a little bone going up inside the body. It does the same thing. Those little claws are used in mating. They have to scoot the female over to get to the right spot. So the whale's penis might be 15 feet long. He has to maneuver things in the dark, underwater, with no hands and say, I can't say, scoot over, honey. It has nothing to do with walking on land. You tell whoever said that the whale or the snake has vestigial hind legs, you tell them that I said they're wrong. If they don't agree with that, then tell them I said they are stupid. Okay?
All right, that question was actually written by a university professor less than a year ago.
I
So
believe it.
that, yeah, they're still using all this stuff today, which is ridiculous. All right, let's see. Uh, Next question. Here. All right, direct observation of microevolution. This was also by the same university professor who wrote the last question. In some cases, the evidence for evolution is that we can see it taking place around us. Important modern-day examples of evolution include drug-resistant bacteria and pesticide-resistant insects. For example, in the 1950s, there was a worldwide effort to eradicate malaria by eliminating its carriers, certain types of mosquitoes. The pesticide DDT was sprayed broadly in areas where mosquitoes lived. And at first, the DDT was highly effective at killing mosquitoes. However, over time, the DDT became less and less effective, and more mosquitoes survived. This was because the mosquito population evolved resistance to the pesticide. So, what do you say?
Okay. Um, if you're going to discuss evolution with somebody, you have to define exactly what do you mean by that word, evolution. I point out it has 6 different levels or meanings or stages. Number one, you'd have to have cosmic evolution. Where do you get time, space, and matter? What is evolving? Where did the matter come from to evolve, if it evolved? So they answer that with the Big Bang, which is not an answer at all. So I go through that on my seminar, part 1. The Big Bang is big stupid, okay? Get my video number 1. The whole series is $50, 18 hours. When you're done watching it, you can return it and get your money back. Can't beat a deal like that. Secondly, you'd have to have chemical evolution, because they will tell you the Big Bang produced hydrogen and maybe some helium and a little tiny bit of lithium. Well, we got 92 elements. Where did gold, silver, and platinum come from? Hydrogen? I'd like to make gold out of hydrogen. It'd be cool. You get rich quick, right? Number 3, you'd have to have stars and planets evolving. Nobody's ever seen this happen. This is imagination, SpongeBob style, like I got behind me here. SpongeBob. Okay. Nobody's ever seen a star form or a planet form, but we have planets and stars. So they have to imagine that it happened long ago and far away. The first 3 have never been observed. Number 4, organic evolution, the origin of life. How did life get started from non-living material? They have no clue how it could happen. One atheist I was debating said, Hovind, if someday scientists make life in the laboratory, what are you going to say then? I'm going to say that proves my point. It takes intelligence to make life. It doesn't prove it can happen on its own. It doesn't happen on its own. You have to, if you could make it, it would just prove it takes intelligence. God did it. So organic evolution is not part of science. Number 5 is macroevolution. That's where an animal changes to a different kind of animal. That has never been observed. Nobody's ever seen a dog produce a non-dog or a cow produce a non-cow. So the first 5 of these are purely religious. Okay, you can believe them all you want, but they're not science. Let me get up here a little bit. So genetic drift. The last one, microevolution. God said they would bring forth after their kind. 24 times in the first 7 chapters, God said they'll bring forth after their kind, after their kind, after their kind. That's all we've ever seen. 450 breeds of cows now. Probably had a common ancestor called a cow. Most of the species they've developed would not survive on their own. You got to babysit them. Like the world's record for cow milk production a couple of years ago, somebody broke it now, was 185 pounds a day. That thing would never survive on its own. It can barely walk. Can't outrun a wolf or coyote, that's for sure. It's dogs. 450 breeds, 339 breeds of dogs. Little bitty ones. How long would that survive in the woods? The squirrels would eat it, okay?
Yeah.
There's a lot of different dog skulls, different human skulls. That's my wife's dog, completely useless, okay? So I agree, there are varieties of dogs. There are 1,000 types of bananas. They might have had a common ancestor called a banana. How many kinds of eagles are there? Whoa, let's see. How many kinds of eagles does it say? I think it was 60, if I recall. How many types of oak trees are there? 600 species of oak? Woo, they're still an oak tree. That doesn't mean they're related to eagles. How many kinds of bears? 8 species of bears. So atheists will show you variations within the kind, like the 8 kinds of bears, and say, see, that proves they're related to mosquitoes. No, Bears make baby bears every time. So microevolution, which is a lousy term, they shouldn't use that. But that's what they turn. I'll get up here to that one right here. Microevolution. There. Variations happen within the same kind. You look different than your parents, probably, and you look different than me, and you probably look different than everybody on the planet, but you're still human. If you get married and have kids, they're going to be human. I guarantee it. There's no evidence for any animal ever producing something other than its kind. So the first five are purely religious. If they wish to believe them, they can. Now, as far as the mosquitoes and things becoming resistant to pesticides, let's imagine we got a population of mosquitoes. There's 1,000 mosquitoes. We spray them with DDT. 995 die. 5 don't die because they just happen to have a natural resistance to whatever that was you sprayed on them. Now, those 5 get to be the only ones that make the next generation of babies. So maybe out of their 500 or 1,000 babies, 500 of them now have this resistance from mom and dad. And if you do that a few times, pretty soon the whole population is resistant to DDT. I agree. It's still a mosquito. They happen to already have a resistance to that chemical. I guarantee this, none of them are resistant to a sledgehammer. None. That would have solved the problem. Go around, smack everyone with a sledgehammer. Doesn't matter how much resistance you got to DDT. Sledgehammer is going to do you in. See, what they've done is they've given an example of artificial selection, man spraying something on them and selecting a certain slice of the population to survive and the rest die. Artificial selection works, natural selection works. They both work just great, but they select. They don't create anything. All they do is select something already existing. If you went through your state you live in and killed everybody under 6 feet tall, kill them all. Then, as other people grow up and have kids and stuff like that, pretty soon, now you do it again. Every 30 years, go through and kill everybody under 6 feet tall. Pretty soon, you're going to have a state full of people that are 6 foot and over. You didn't create anything. You selected a slice of the population that's already existing. I bet you've already got some 6 feet tall people in your state, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not creating it, you're selecting it. And the atheists don't get it. They think this selection process will create something. Never in a trillion years. Okay, did I miss any part of that? No, all they've done is select a resistant mosquito. That's all. Didn't create nothing.
Yeah, I see. That's like the number one problem with every single one of your debates that I watch. It's like they just try and use natural selection as proof for evolution, and every single time. All right, so we have I think 2 more questions, and then I think I had a few questions from some different people on discipleship who had sent in some questions for you.
Okay.
And
sure,
we should be good. So let me see. The next one is right here. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get this one here. Started with my 5th one, and now I have to get to the other one. All right, so right here, I had one. So this was this wasn't really an evolution question. This was just a question from someone on discipleship who wanted to know what you thought about this. So apparently they were talking about Dr. James Tour. Do you know who that is?
Yes, I do.
And they were asking, what do you think about his thoughts on abiogenesis and all that? So they wanted to know really, what do you think about like what he says?
Well, when you put the letter A in front of a word, it usually means the opposite of. Bio means life, and genesis means beginning. So biogenesis is the beginning of life. Abiogenesis is the study that says we can't do it. It can't happen by itself. I think James Tour is exactly right. From what I've seen of his stuff, I love it. I think it's great. That'd be 6 stages of evolution. That'd be number 4, the origin of life. Nobody's ever seen this. We can't make it happen. If we could make it happen, it wouldn't prove evolution. It'd prove creation. But we can't even make it happen. Can't even do that. So I think that what he does is great. I love it. Okay.
All right. So another one, I think, was it Donnie from Standing for Truth? He also had some stuff on abiogenesis also, I think,
Right.
on his channel.
Well, the atheists know. I'm going to eat a little bit of supper between questions here since I've been a busy day. I just got back. Atheists know they have to have an answer for how life got started, so they just make it up. Oh, warm little pond. It just happened. That's baloney. Doesn't happen at all. That wasn't baloney. That was fish. That was good. Okay. Hey, brother, text your wife. I need some water. I'm out. Go ahead. Next question.
All right. It's right here. Okay, so this was a question about the Grand Canyon. It was basically just saying that this person has they didn't really give any proof. They just said that uh the Grand Canyon was obviously formed over millions of years by just over millions of years, small amounts of water formed the Grand Canyon, and they can't really give any proof. But what do you have to say about the Grand Canyon being formed over millions of years with small amounts of water?
I would say that's baloney. I'll show you. My video number 4, I talk about that very thing. Let's see. Creation Seminar Part 4 of my 18-hour seminar covers all that. Let's see, Part 4. Here we go. Lies in the textbooks. I cover just 20 of the basic lies. And I'm sorry, if you need evidence for your theory, you better keep looking because so far you haven't found any. Better yet, give up on that stupid theory and believe that God made the world. That's the only logical explanation. Here's the problem with Grand Canyon. Let me see if I got it right here. Oh, DV. The top of Grand Canyon is way higher than where the river enters the canyon. I think we could all agree with that. Okay. Rivers don't flow uphill in Arizona or Alabama or anywhere. Okay. So, in order for the start making the canyon to cut at the top, it had to start with a giant lake behind it. I thought I had a whole bunch of slides on this topic, Grand Canyon. Let's see, the geologic column was made up in 1830. They say the layers are different ages. That is pure baloney. If the layers are different ages, where's this top layer coming from? Maybe it's on seminar part 1 where I cover that. I'm sorry, I got 50,000 slides. It takes me a while to get to them here. Let me open up seminar part 1 about Grand Canyon and the age of the earth. There it is. Okay. So Grand Canyon was formed when a dam broke. Grand Canyon probably formed in 1 week, not millions of years. First of all, the layers of the earth all formed in 1 year during Noah's flood. The tide was pulling the water up and down, rushing in and out of that tidal bump, they call it. It's called tidal pumping. It would form all those layers. See, the layers form sideways, not horizontally, not vertically. Okay, Grand Canyon. Let's see. All right, here. Erosion rate, Niagara Falls. Well, I'm sorry. If I knew that question was coming, I would have picked it out of my 50,000 slides. But
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. That was more of a just audience question that I hadn't sent in on the email.
Yeah. Well, Grand Canyon was not formed by the Colorado River. If it was, the river would have to flow uphill for millions of years to start flowing downhill. The rivers only flow downhill anywhere in the world. And so the top of the canyon is 5,000 feet higher than where the river enters the canyon. I'm sorry, that river did not make that canyon. Grand Canyon is from a washed out dam. If you plugged up Grand Canyon today, that would take a lot of dirt. Okay. But if you could plug up Grand Canyon, a lake would form that would go clear back to Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona. A giant lake called Grand Lake would form. It would clear back into those other states. And I can show you the map. You can do an elevation line, follow the elevation line of the top of Grand Canyon and draw a map around. You can make your own where the lake would be if you filled up the canyon. So if you filled up Grand Canyon, those lakes would form again, I think maybe 50 years after the flood. Just guessing. The lakes got too full. What happens when any lake gets too full? It goes over the top and cuts a gash, washes out a canyon. Grand Canyon probably formed in 1 week. If you watch Dam Break at Dinosaur Adventureland, when we first got this property, the main lake was gone because the dam had broken. So to get ready to fix it, we built another dam further upstream. And then when we got the big dam fixed, because that little one held the water back so we could fix the big one, then we cut a notch in the top. You can see it right there on, is it on our channel, Dam Break at Dinosaur Adventureland on Genesis Baptist Church? Go to Genesis Baptist Church and you can see the dam break. It took 7 minutes to wash out the entire dam. Washed it out. Once the water gets started, it's awful what it'll do. It picks up sand and gravel and becomes liquid sandpaper. It'll cut through concrete. Type Tom Sauk, T-A-U-M. Tom Sauk is an Indian name, S-A-U-K. The Tom Sauk Reservoir in St. Louis broke back in 2005. It lost 1.5 billion gallons of water in 10 minutes and carved a giant canyon in 10 minutes. Does not take millions of years. I'm coming here. Come on, there we go. Oil pressure. If they watch my whole video series, it will help you. But if they're teaching that the layers are different ages, they are absolutely not thinking. If the top layer is younger, I keep asking, where did it come from? Outer space? All over the world, petrified trees are found standing up, connecting all the layers. I apologize. I thought I had Grand Canyon in here 4 or 5 different times. Here we go. Polystrata fossils. Slide number 111190. Oh, DV. Okay, hang on. I'll show you a picture here. These are found all over the world. Petrified trees standing up, running through all the layers. Why are we teaching the kids these layers are different ages? Tree's only going to stand there for a while. Minimum time it takes to fossilize is 10,000 years. That's baloney. You can fossilize wood in a few days and they're under pressure. There's somebody chopped on this log before it got petrified. Now it's petrified in the forest. So I cover all this about rapid fossilization. Here's a mother giving birth and fossilized in the process of giving birth. There's a shoe of a cowboy's foot still in the boot and fossilized. Here's a pickle we got in our museum here. Fossilized pickle, turned to stone. Okay. It was in the jar. Fossilized peanut cluster. That wasn't your question. Here's a fossilized teddy bear. Petrified water wheel. That proves it took teddy bears millions of years ago. So I'm sorry, brother, I can't find it quickly, but petrified trees in the standing position are found all over the world, and they are pretty clear evidence that the layers are not different ages. Here we go, polystrata. Petrified trees standing up. How long does a dead tree stand around where you live before it falls over? A couple of years, right? Yeah, not millions. Petrified trees that are standing up are found all over, and they just ignore it. Guys, this goes against your religion. The layers are not different ages. There is no such thing as a geologic column. No such thing. Here in northern Alabama, I live in southern Alabama, there's a coal mine. They find trees all the time, petrified, standing up, running through the different layers of rock, through layers of coal, petrified in the vertical position. Well, I think maybe all the coal seams formed because of Noah's flood. And here we have different trees that are standing up, running through different layers. They named the coal seams. The Blue Creek is the lower one, then the Mary Lee. Well, hold it. Tree number 8, letter H, and tree letter A are running through this same seam. So all this had to happen before those trees could rot. I would say the flood did that with tidal pumping. This tree is running through 2 different seams of coal, same tree, up in Cookeville, Tennessee, Kettle Coal Mine. Up in Joggins, Nova Scotia, there's hundreds of them. Petrified trees standing up, running through all the layers. So I'm sorry, they're mistaken. If they think the layers are different ages, they're wrong. All that formed in 1 year before the tree could rot. Okay, next question.
All right. So that's about all we have. But then we just had one question from an audience member, Rofat. Well, not live audience, obviously, but he did have a question, which I think I've actually asked you on here before, but it was a while ago. And he wanted to know, who is your favorite person to debate out of all these people, out of these 339 debates? Who was your favorite to debate?
That'd be hard to measure that based on how easy they are to make fun of. Oh, man. Maybe that'd be the way to measure it. I guess I never thought of having a favorite. I'll take any of mine. I'll take on 5 at a time. If I get half the time, we talk about one topic at a time. Get your best 5 evolutionists together. Say, let's get the best evidence for evolution. Let's debate Hovind. We'll do it on my channel, their channel, your channel. Okay. One topic at a time, no interrupting. I get half the time. They go first. Where's the evidence for your religion of evolution? There is none, none whatsoever. Nobody's ever seen a cow produce a non-cow. Never. You can believe all you want, but it's not science. It's a religion. There's no geologic column. It's fiction. So who's my favorite? Joseph, which one do you like?
AJ?
Atheist Junior. I'll debate him any day of the week. Okay. Not sure if he's a boy or a girl. He's not anyway.
Yeah, Mr. Anderson, I saw you did a few debates with him, and those were some interesting debates.
The lawyer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, McKinney. His real name is McKinney. Okay, next question.
All right, well, that's actually all the questions we had for tonight. And
Okay.
you gave some great answers. So thanks for doing this interview tonight.
Well, thank you. We do a program every night on Genesis Baptist Church on YouTube and on Rumble, Kent Hovind Official, and Odyssey, and our website, drdino.com. If they want to call me, 855-BIG-DINO. I'm extension 3. Our tech guy is extension 4. Schedule a debate. Or come on down and visit Dinosaur Adventureland. We have our Baptist Church. We're straight north of Pensacola right there, 70 miles, in the itty-bitty town of Lenox, Alabama. And you come down, take the tour, stay in one of our cabins. It's all free. We'll feed you, house you, give you the tour. And hopefully, if you're not saved, get you converted. Thanks for having me on, brother.
All right. Well, I hope to have you on again soon. And I forgot, I had one more question. This was just from me. I wanted to know, last interview I did with you was right after they had shut down your YouTube channel, your big one, right after they shut that down. And I heard that you weren't able to get the donations that you had gotten on there. Were you able to get those?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
They took us down, Kent Hovind Official YouTube, and never told us why. And we came up the next day on Genesis Baptist Church. And we're on a bunch of other platforms now. So if they do it again, it kind of won't matter. We've got Rumble and other places like that. Thank you, man. When are you going to come down and visit the place, brother?
Well, we were supposed to this year, but because we have some family near you, but we had some stuff happen, so I'm hoping we come during 2024 this year.
Okay. Well, you come down anytime. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thanks for coming on. And
all right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Go. All right. Thank you for watching this interview with Dr. Hovind on discipleship. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoyed the discussion that me and Dr. Kent had. The questions, some of the audience questions were from something book club who asked this question on my last interview with Dr. Hovind. So if you want your questions to be answered by Dr. Hovind on our next interview, then please just leave them in the comment section or the live chat section of this video that you will be seeing. It'll probably be premiering a day from now. Thank you for watching this episode of Discipleship, and we hope to see you on our next episode, which will be coming soon.